What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back for another episode of Across the Pod with my main man Tom. It is game week 14. It is a short week, Tom. We need to get the people in and out of here quickly. Some quick decisions: who we're transferring in, the players we like both short and long term. But how are you doing, my friend? 87 points and the number one captain on the board for us and this show. Bukayo Saka, you said Palmer. Both were great. But how are you, my friend?
I'm great. It's good to be back. I'm already liking the quick fire tone you got going on today. I'm feeling snappy. I'm ready. The only things I want to talk about really is I think we just want to signpost the best players. It's a midweek game week this week. Let's just get your best players. Let's get some transferred in. Pick captain. Bam. Done. Easy.
Exactly. Get in, get out, and that's what we're here to do for the people. So let's get into who you have on your watch list for this week. Bring it up on the screen, Tom. You wanted to surprise me. Who do you got?
Okay. Number one, I'm interested to see if you agree with all of these, but number one, none other than Cucurella. Cucurella. And I think he is fantastic for none other than this lovely little green run you can see underneath him there. It doesn't really matter what those fixtures are. It's more just, I think he's got the left side locked down. Mm-hmm. He got an assist this game week. He's got a really good run of green fixtures. And I think with a few assists and Chelsea's ability to now keep clean sheets, kept a clean sheet against Villa. We've talked about him for a few game weeks about being a little bit more solid at the back. We've obviously got Colwell in our team. And I just think for that fixture run in a scenario where clean sheets are hard to come by, you may as well buy a wing back who might get you assists, but also probably playing for one of the better defenses at the minute and one of the better fixture runs. So I think he's probably a good shout from defensive position. I think he's probably the only defender I've got on my list of 5 here, but I think he's probably the one. If you need to make a defensive transfer, he's on my watch list.
Yeah, so a little bit more on the expensive side. So I'm curious your thoughts on why you went with him versus a Colwell, who we transferred into our team and did get the clean sheet first, I believe, since week 1 or game week 2 of the Chelsea season. So how do you justify the cost? I think that's the hardest part for people with Cucurella. Great player, very involved, plays right down that left side. But how do you justify the cost over virtually any other player who's in that 4.5, 4.6, maybe even 4.7 range?
Yeah, I think it's a fair challenge. I think the thing is, for me, if you don't have the funds, Cole is probably just as good. But yeah. I do think the extra little bit, if you have it, just justifies it a little bit more. Cucurella tends to get the bonus points. He tends to get more assists or more goal involvements than Cole would do just sitting back. So for me, I think if you have the funds, and a lot of people are transferring away from Porro. I think so many people brought in Porro last week, and I'm shocked at that. Don't understand. It's a perfect pivot at this like 5 mil range, or to downgrade maybe like a Gvardiol or someone, or even Rico Lewis at the price point he's at. Great to get off him and get onto Cucurella at this point. So I think he's a good point around. If you don't have the funds, just go Colwell.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good player. Great fixture run. We'll talk about Chelsea a lot, I bet, this show for sure.
All right, 1 for 1 then. You agree?
I'll give you half a point. I'll give you half a point.
I'll take that.
It's a little pricey for me.
Number 2. Rashford. And this is a contentious one, but I just think he's come in, I think 2 double-digit hauls maybe. He scored, 2 last game.
Yep.
I think United are starting to click, and it's a conversation we can have. I think he represents more the opportunity of Man United assets as a whole. I've got Bruno in my team, and I'm actually very happy with him playing in the role that he's playing as a 10. And I think Bruno's a great option, but he's obviously quite a high price point, and at the minute everyone's struggling to get Saka, Salah, Palmer in that midfield. You're going to struggle to get Bruno as well. And for me, I think it's a question between, if you want to get a Man United asset, for me, it's either Rashford or Ahmad, who seems to have that position locked down on that side as well. And at 4.9 million, I think offers great value. But I think Rashford just pipped it for me in terms of putting him on the screen. But where's your head at with Man United assets?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up United as a whole, because I was going to bring this up as a topic of conversation. As much as I like Bruno, with the fixture run that they're on right now, I don't see a sense why you'd want to have him in your team. You got to go Arsenal away, Forest is a decent one, and then City away, which probably actually isn't so bad when it stands right now. Yeah. But you see the way that Rashford is playing, you're getting a midfielder playing striker. Like that is FPL points, gold, glory. He scored 3 in his last 2 games since the new manager came in. He put him up top. He's been great. You brought up Ahmad. He would absolutely be on my watch list. At 5 mil, he already went up in price, and he's going to be involved in this team. probably only assists, but he has 4 assists in his last 3 games, so I do really like that as well. For me, with United, I think the fixture run is interesting to see how they're going to play, and that's why I did want to bring it up on the screen here. So we can see, like, Arsenal, Forest City, not terrible, but it's not going to be easy for them. They had a really good run of fixtures. Bruno's been playing okay, right? He blanked as soon as we brought him in the team. But Rashford playing up top and the way that they're using Ahmad right now, I think both are better options. And if you want to have a United asset, due to the fact that they seem to be playing well, I think both those guys are better shouts than Bruno right now, especially with how expensive you're probably looking to spend in your midfield with Salah, Saka, Palmer, all guys that are heavily selected in a lot of people's teams.
I think you're right, other than the fact that you're wrong about the fixtures. If you go back to those little fixtures there, I think Arsenal away, very tough, but United always love fucking up Arsenal's season. I think it's going to be a tougher game than most people expect here. After that, Forest at home, fantastic fixture, I think. City away, absolutely, like, you would almost favour, man. Like, you can see United getting a result there, the way City are playing. City can't keep a clean sheet. So I think that's
and Emeron already beat City, right? So I think that's the other thing. When he was at Sporting, he beat City. And so he's going to bring a better team probably to face off against this same City team that's struggling.
And then you have Bournemouth, Wolves, Newcastle at home. Liverpool away is probably the next tough fixture. Then you've got 3 really good fixtures. Southampton at home, Brighton home, Fulham away, Palace at home, absolutely fantastic. Spurs, who are leaky in defence.
Yeah, Spurs is no
Everton, Ipswich. Then you've got Arsenal, which is tough. And I mean, that's talking March. So until...
Yeah.
For me, I actually think United fixtures are absolutely fantastic. And I think it's just, you got to take it that, like, ignore the colours on the right-hand side for the most part and just pick it as if you're taking it game by game. Actually, then that's part of the reason why I'm not going to sell Bruno in my team.
Interesting. Yeah. So for me, like, again, it's not so much that I think he's going to be bad and I don't want him. Just at least if I'm going to carry an asset from United through this tougher fixture run, it'd be on the cheaper end than bringing in a Bruno after another good game from him. I would just wait a few weeks. There's no reason. There's a lot of good players that we can talk about where the fixtures do swing in their favor. And then if you want to go back to Bruno, where once again you laid out, when they get that Bournemouth at home, it's a much better setup for them right now. But who is your next player that you want to highlight to the people? Tom! Nicholas
Finally,
Jackson, we're here. Let's go.
You finally cracked me, and he's up on the screen. And I just think he looks more clinical than he has, a little bit more confidence. He's still missing chances that other strikers would take, but at least he's taking some of the chances other strikers will make. And I think there's sort of half chances this season he's converting. If you look against his goal against Villa, like
great
left
goal.
Foot, near post, in great finish.
Great goal.
And I think when he has a chance not to think about what he's doing, he tends to be really good. It's just the second he's like one-on-one or starting to have some time about his decision making isn't fully there, but he looks a lot better than he has been. I know someone texted me saying he looks like prime Mo 6 Drogba, and I don't think he's reached that level yet. But I think he's slowly getting there, and I think he's a great pivot off Isaac, who I know a lot of people are already frustrated with. I think for me personally, I would still hold Isaac. You picked him for a reason on wildcard. I think he's going to be back. Like, it was just an impact injury apparently, and if he's not back midweek, he'll be back. And like, you don't really want him against Liverpool anyway. I think he probably, like, it's not bad a home fixture, but you kind of want him for Newcastle's fixture run after that. So for me, Isaac's a hold, but Jackson, if you fancy the upside and the switch across, I think he's also a great asset, especially with that fixture run on the left-hand side, as we highlighted with Cucurella.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously with you. I've been talking about him for weeks now. He's been playing great. The fixture run is incredible, and this Chelsea team is playing very, very well at all levels. And I think we're going to have a conversation is who is your top 3 Chelsea assets, because there's a lot of players you could talk about with this team, and with the fixture run that they have, I think there's a lot of options to go both from price and upside as well. Palmer's going to be one of them, but we'll have to decide on the other 2.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a toss-up between, if you've already got Sanchez in goal, who I think's good, Cucurella or Colwell, and then probably just Jackson. The only reason I didn't go Jackson on wildcard is I think there's still a question around, like, he's going to play 70 minutes only every game week, because Nkunku seems to be coming in, João Felix seems to be coming in, a lot of rotation here and there. So I think Palmer's the lock for most teams, but I still like Jackson.
Yeah. So who's next?
Where are we at? Are you agreeing with 2 out of 3 so far?
Yeah, I'll give you 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. Okay, sweet. Number 4, Jared Bowen. We've been talking about him for a few weeks. We've been talking about him. And I think now's probably the time. And the reason I've highlighted him more so is because he's like an Mbuemo replacement at that price point. You know, Mbuemo 7.8. You can kind of switch across to him easily. Got great fixtures coming up. And I think he's the talisman for West Ham on penalties. If we look at the fixtures, I think they've got Leicester,
Unreal.
Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton. Great. And then it's probably a switch after that. They've got Fulham home, Palace home if you want to hold them over City and Liverpool, but I probably wouldn't bother. But for the next 5, look absolutely great. And at that point, you can kind of make your own bets as to what you want to do with him. But I think over the next 5, you can see him getting a lot of good fixtures, good form, good scoring ability. And I think the only other player from West Ham who I do quite like back from his suspension is Kudus. So I think a West Ham asset this week, probably a good switch from Mbuemo, honestly. And I would avoid like Matoma route and else. Semenyo is a good pick still, I think, coming back for Bournemouth and good fixtures. So I think at the price point for Mbuemo, my favourites, Bowen, but you've got those range of other players as well.
All right, Tom, so now I'm going to put your feet to the fire because I have this in my notes. Bowen versus Rashford. Fixtures versus form. Who would you put in your team? You have them both on your list here. You would save 0.5 mil by having Rashford. You can only pick one midfielder. Who would you pick?
Oh, that's a tough one. Honestly, Bowen's the safer pick because I know he's definitely going to play 90 minutes on penalties and probably better fixtures. But Rashford's just the more exciting pick at the minute, playing striker in a team which seems to be doing really well, and he's got way better form. And Rashford is historically a very streaky player. He can go 10 games without scoring, and if he scores 2 in his 11th, he tends to go on like a run of 6 or 7 fantastic games. And I think you want to get him before he hits his purple patch. So I'd probably go Rashford for the upside. Okay. In the betting that Bowen doesn't tend to get more than like 7-8 points if he's involved in goals, whereas Rashford's easily could get like a 15-pointer. So I'd probably pick Rashford on the risk of it.
Yeah, and even this week, we talked about the 3 fixtures where it's a little bit rocky potentially, but even after that, you have him, and you can have him in the team at 6.9 mil all the way to March. And I think that's where, if things go right for United, you're getting a much bigger return than having Jared Bowen in the team. So that was a question I did want to ask you. So I'm glad that you have both of them on your list. I like both, but I would go with Rashford personally.
Great. Well, Doug, I feel like I'm singing the right song today. Let's go to the last one. Boom. Trent. Trent's coming back, baby. I think,
I'm shocked. I am truly shocked. No wonder you didn't want me to see this list because every other player I could have expected, but Trent is absolutely not one of them. Talk to me about Trent and Alexander-Arnold.
I think Liverpool look by and far the best team in the league. Yeah. And Trent hasn't had the assists and goal returns that we expected, but his expected goal involvement is still right up there. And I think he's been unlucky to not get more assists and goal involvements. Mirrored with Liverpool's ability to keep a clean sheet and look really strong defensively, and with Conor Bradley out until at least the new year, I think Trent is back into looking like a great option. And I think a lot of people have freed up a lot of funds now getting rid of Haaland. Yeah. I think Trent, if you're not going to have Haaland, you need to kind of have more big hitters in each position. Have a Raya in goal, have Trent in defence, have your Saka, Salah, Palmer, whatever, and have your Jackson up front or whatever. But I think Trent now is a great differential because loads of people jumped off him. He's dropped to 6.9. I really like it. I'm struggling to see a reason to not have him at the minute.
Well, I mean, Gabriel is significantly cheaper, and he scored this week as well. So how do you justify having Trent over Gabriel right now? Because I think you've admitted last week, unless you've changed your tune, that Arsenal's still probably top in terms of clean sheets, and then Gabriel obviously does have the scoring threat on the corners, where Arsenal's still one of the best teams in the Prem at that.
Yeah, exactly. I think Gabriel is still great. I just think Arsenal have a harder fixture run coming up.
They do, yeah.
And for me, if he's not keeping a clean sheet, well, I guess he kind of is, but I just don't think he can continue the involvement at the level that he is doing. Like last year, he only scored 3 headed goals the whole season. I think he's already got 5 this season. And maybe it is he can continue at that rate, but he got 9 points, and that was from a goal and an assist. And he came off injured, but I think he'll be fine. But like Newcastle, is this? Yeah, exactly.
This is for Trent,
I think Trent's fixture run it's a bit hit and miss, but I just really like him as an asset at the minute, and I don't know, it's a bit of a contentious one, but I kind of like to throw it in there. I do think between him and Gabriel, Gabriel's probably a better option, but outside of Gabriel, there's no other defender that really excites me on the whole list. Maybe like someone like we talked about for ages, Nuri and Digne and all these lot, but they don't keep clean sheets and they don't look like they're getting the returns or the influence that the kind of Trent or Gabriel is having for the two best teams in the league, basically.
Yeah, I think the problem here is so I have the Gabriel fixtures pulled up, 6.2 mil, one of the most selected defenders in FPL, but when do you take them out of the team? Never. It doesn't matter if he has got a City home game, Spurs home, there's no reason to ever take him out. Still has a ton of great fixtures ahead. Arsenal's still playing as, it's them or Liverpool right now as top team in the league. Now they're conceding a lot of goals, which isn't great. But when he's scoring goals to kind of make up for it, getting bonus points, I think it's all kind of in his favor. So those are your 5 guys right now, Tom. I definitely don't agree with you on Trent. I just think it's not going to make sense when you're trying to bring in Salah, trying to bring in Palmer. At this point, you pretty much have to bring in Saka. He's going to rise again tonight. So if you see this before the price rises, he's going to go up to 10-3. But yeah, I think you just need to find ways to go cheaper defense. We talked about taking Haaland out. Let's talk about our team though, Tom, and I'll bring up the names that I wanted to bring up for this exercise, talking about players who want to transfer in. Defense, I didn't really have anybody. We've talked about them a lot. Burgess went up to 4 mil. A lot of people are transferring him in because he plays 90 minutes every single game, but again, he plays for Ipswich. They're going to concede almost every single game. Caldwell versus Cucurella, I think it's a good shout. We have Lewis Hall. I'm still kind of iffy on Hall right now. Nuri. I did want to bring him up because potentially he could be a good sell soon-ish, and maybe we'll jump off before the fixtures fully swing, but obviously for the next 4 weeks looks great overall. And then Digne's kind of been okay. I kind of expected a little bit more from him, but they've lost 3 of their last 4. Fixtures are still good. Even if you want to ride it through the City ones, bench him for some of those. Going to be fine, but we talk about those guys a lot. But in the midfield, we talked about Saka, get him in the team as much as you can. If you can afford it, make it happen. We talked about Bowen versus Rashford, but I did want to bring up Enzo Fernandez because he's only 4.8 mil, Tom. And he has 4 goal involvements in his last 3 games. And I need you to tell me why I shouldn't put him in my team. I need you to convince me why I shouldn't put him in my team as a dude who's so cheap and been so good lately. Why wouldn't I do that? 4.8 mil.
So scroll down. There's been 13 game weeks, and
that's fine.
You want a reason to bring him in. Just look at game weeks 1 to 11 there.
And I understand that. But when we're talking about having Saka, Palmer, Salah, and potentially more than that, you still need to have that 4th and 5th midfielder spot filled. We have Semenyo in there. Why can't Enzo be cheaper and allow us to maybe have higher price forwards, better defenders, a player like Trent, right? If we did pivot down from Semenyo to an Enzo, that would free up a mil, right? And then we could potentially move things around there. So it's not so much that I think he's going to be an elite asset. He has been playing great though, and he's going to go up in price on top of the fact that we've been talking consistently about these fixtures. You don't need to take him out of the team. He's always going to be a great sub because he's playing a lot for now, and that may change. But at 4.8 mil, everyone's all over Ahmad because of what he's doing, and he'll probably play a lot and be great. But I think that Enzo is a guy that could be a real differential at an even cheaper price. So I wanted to just bring him up as a differential because I did think he was very interesting. And then the other guy I wanted to bring up is Raul Jimenez because he continues to be pretty good despite the fact that he's not scoring. And you talked about him a long time ago, and I wanted to give you some credit for that because look at the goal involvements he has. 1.3 goal involvements despite only scoring 4 points. And while the fixtures don't look great, look to bring him in before game week 17 because you're going to probably want him. But if you did want, you're way out of it right now, you need to make up some ground. Everyone is on Pedro at 5.6. To be fair, including us. But everyone's on Pedro right now. And I do think Jimenez could be a guy that scores some goals kind of unexpectedly in some tough fixtures and returns for you if a Pedro continues to blank and not perform to the level we expected of him. So I did want to bring him up. Could be a guy that you could have for a long time. Someone to add to your watch list, a differential pick who is, 6.6%, not too bad. But I wanted to bring up the fact mainly that he has 1.3 goal involvements in the last 2 games despite only scoring 4 points. That is definitely going to change if he continues to play at that level. But Tom, do you have any other thoughts before we get out of here? And we do have to pick our captain for this week. And I'm going to put all the pressure on you. I am going to have zero input, and you are going to decide, pick our team and pick our captain.
What? I picked Saka last time, didn't we?
No, you didn't. You picked Palmer or Saka, and I picked Saka.
Okay, who have we got on the bench? Is there anyone that's going to play?
We have Digne on the bench, Semenyo, Burgess.
I'd be tempted to play Burgess over Hall, and I think Digne has to play. I'd play Digne over Colwill, probably.
Southampton away?
I think, yeah, Southampton will score against Chelsea, I think, personally.
So you want
Digne I thought it was all up to me.
Redford?
And you're questioning me now.
I'm just asking you. I'm just simply asking you the question. We can make that switch for you. Perfect. All right. Wow, benching Colwill against Southampton. Wow, bold move, Tom.
No. I think you're right. I think Colwill over Hall. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's playing Liverpool, so that's probably a pretty good idea.
Yeah. And even though Burgess has Palace at home, Palace do look absolutely shocking. Mind, I was at that game at the weekend.
You were,
and they were absolutely shocking. As almost as bad as Newcastle. So I don't know, but I think it's Ipswich. So I'd probably just keep it like this. For captain, I'm probably thinking, it's either Saka or Palmer for me. Or Salah. I mean, I'm just picking the premiums. It's a tough one this week. I really don't like it.
I will say, though, Salah versus Hall is a problem on that left side for Newcastle. He is going to demolish Lewis Hall. And that is probably of all the parts of the defense, they attack out the left side a little bit, but with Salah being as good as he's in and the form he's in, he is going to have Lewis Hall in a pretzel like he did against Mendy in the Champions League.
And I think Newcastle's results, I don't think we've beat Liverpool since the night, I don't even know how long, maybe 10 years. So I think let's just go with Salah. I do think he's in the form of his life. He's, even when he's not involved in all the game, in the minutes in the game, he can just rock up and have 2 moments in a game and get 15 points. So for me, Salah's probably. I'm just thinking about if I'm watching each of these games and I don't have someone captained, who am I most scared watching? And it's Liverpool and Salah right now. So that's probably who I think is worth us captaining. I'd probably go Salah.
All right. I'm with it. I'll back it. Easy. That's it.
Nice.
I can't believe you didn't even talk about Palmer. He's got Southampton, and they're the worst team in the league. And we both know that. But you picked Salah. That's okay.
I said Palmer initially, but I do think, I don't know. I think Southampton will make stuff a little bit tougher for them this time. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they are the worst team in the league and Palmer will score 3. Let's see.
But I'm with you. I like the defense. I think you did a good job there. The midfield is obviously nailed. We're great. Not going to worry about that. Did you want to transfer out Isak for Nicholas Jackson? Because I did ask you about that pre-show. You said you want to hold on. We're starting Cunha. We're starting Pedro again. Oh, man. I'm ready to be hurt again with Joao Pedro. But that is it, Tom. Do you have any final thoughts for the people? You picked our captain. You picked our team. And you did a great job, my friend, giving people great information and transfers they should be making. Do you have any final thoughts? And I want your top 3 Chelsea assets before we get out of here.
Oof. The only other thought I have is whether we actually start Semenyo ahead of Joao Pedro. And that's just something we can ponder for the next couple hours.
We have a little bit of time. We have some time.
They have Semenyo. They have Tottenham at home. I don't think Fulham away is a great fixture for Joao Pedro, but Brighton are still playing well. One to think about. Top 3 Chelsea assets: Palmer, Jackson, and it's close between Sanchez and Cucurella. I'd probably go Sanchez.
Okay. Yeah, Sanchez is being transferred in a lot. He's supposed to go up in price tonight.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm right.
Yeah.
My man, the people.
Man of the people. I love it, Tom. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe for all of our future content. Good luck with Game Week 14. Don't go too crazy. It is a midweek game week, but we will be back later in the week to preview Game Week 15. So we'll see you guys later, and good luck this week. We're out. Peace.
Peace.